And we are live. I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of Heart to Heart with Bree. And tonight's topic is a conversation about spinal cord injury. And this is part two. And tonight I have Cedric and Vanessa Nichols. Thank you so much for joining me on Heart to Heart with Bree. I'll have you introduce yourself again, Cedric, and then I'll have Vanessa introduce herself.
Yes, absolutely. Of course. Hi, you guys. I'm Cedric, and fitness specialist from Texas. And here's my spouse.
Hello, I'm Vanessa. I'm care for Cedric and I'm a mom.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourselves. And just a quick recap. When Cedric came on the first episode, he shared about his love for personal training, becoming a trainer, an elite trainer, and the hard work and dedication that it took, and then unfortunately having this spinal cord injury. So I'd like to, for those as they tune in, or even if you come in on the replay, feel free to leave your questions and comments, and Vanessa and Cedric will be more than happy to answer your questions. So I have questions for both Cedric and Vanessa, so I'll be alternating as I see fit as I go through each question. Now, there are some questions that Cedric, you told me earlier that you may prefer if your wife answers those questions. So, just let me know. And Maxine is saying good evening to everyone. Thank
Hello.
you, Maxine. Thank you so much for joining us. So, I'll start with you, Cedric. Did your spinal cord injury bring you to the point of questioning God?
Um, I wouldn't say that it came to the point of me questioning God. If anything, kind of made me go within and question some of the things I had going on in my life.
Okay, now, so you didn't look at it like, oh, God is punishing me or anything like that.
Not that he was punishing me, no, not at all. Of course, I mean, I have a past and I've been through many ups and downs, and I mean, not just myself, but seeing people go through many ups and downs. So I know that he's a way bringer, and he always made a way for me in the past. So really didn't see that it would be any different at this point. I just knew that if I was still breathing and alive, I was able to keep pushing forward.
Did it change the way that you see yourself, the injury? Did it change the way that you see yourself?
It not necessarily made me think anything different of myself. It did make me go within and really look at, different. It made me blame myself at the beginning. So it made me go within and really fine tooth and fine comb things in my life. Maybe I was doing right. Maybe I could have been doing wrong, but it was absolutely something for me to look into and to try to figure out what was really going on, because of course I was confused. So me just trying to put it in perspective. So yeah.
Okay. So I'll ask you, what do you miss the most about your life pre-injury?
Oh man. Oh, that's a lot.
Take your time.
Mostly I think it has a lot to do with me being independent, physically, like me physically being able to do more as a father, as a spouse, as a provider, being able to be hands on and to be able to teach my son, to be that role model for him, which I've only known how to do physically, which is through my works and what I would do on a day-to-day basis. So me being in this injury, I'm not able to do certain things that physically that I used to do. So it is a lot harder, which then turns into mentally, not only physically, but yeah, physically not being able to be the person that I was.
Thank you for that answer. Joan Thaxter Randall is saying hi to us. And thank you, Joan. Thank you so much for joining us. So, I'll start asking you a few questions, Vanessa. What was it like to receive that phone call about Cedric's injury?
I was scared, very confused. I just was thinking if it's bad enough to be in the ER, that just automatically made me worry. That's yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I mean, you just couldn't fathom what happened, that it was something to that extent, a
Right,
spinal cord injury.
right.
Okay. Now, once you found out about the injury and you saw him, were you angry at God? Did you question God?
Never. I wasn't ever angry with God. I've had my own traumas in my past, and those everything's ultimately just made me realize that God sets forth a path for us, and we just have to have the faith to know that it's all for a purpose and that it's for His glory.
Yes. Yes. Now, what did you say to your children? And I know that had to be a very tough conversation.
It really wasn't as tough because they were so young, they didn't quite understand.
Okay.
All I really had to tell them was daddy's very hurt and he has to stay in the hospital with the doctors for a while and he'll come home when he gets better. So
Okay. Okay. And how did you cope mentally and emotionally? Did you feel like there was a lot of pressure because he couldn't move and he had to depend on you?
for sure. But I don't know if I really coped with it at all. I just kind of went into like auto drive, um, just going there every day just so he would have like a familiar face, have familiar support. Because, I mean, he's in a hospital, can't move, can't talk, surrounded by a bunch of strangers. And I just wanted to be there for him. So I don't really know if I was coping with it at that time.
Okay. Mikey Go is saying blessings up and awesome people. Thank you so much, Mikey, for joining us. We do appreciate it. So I have to ask you this. How would you describe your relationship now? And I'm asking both of you that question.
Okay. Our relationship now, I would say is stronger. I would say, I mean, it has its high moments and it has its lows. But for the most part, I think that it opened up doors for us to really become a unit and like actually be able to work with each other and know how to work with each other. So, kind of opened up a door for me to be, more softened towards her and then being able to receive and then understand, where she's coming from.
Okay. And you, Vanessa, what would you like? What would you say to that?
I definitely think that it's made our bond a whole lot stronger. That in no way means that it's easy at all. It's
Right.
very draining emotionally, physically, financially. It's not easy, but I
And
do know
I
that we
can understand that. I can understand. Now,
bonded more.
all of this was at the height of COVID. So I know that had to add to the trauma of the situation. Please talk about that.
Um, Man, so COVID was such a, it was something new for everybody in the world. I mean, not just me. So, I mean, there was a lot of things going on in the world. From every aspect of it, due to people's jobs and their health and stability. So it was a scary time. It was extremely scary to have to go through COVID at that time, knowing that what COVID does to your body. So for me to have a spinal cord injury with those complications, and then have to think about, oh, I still have to worry about COVID also. So
Yeah.
it was stressful for me.
And Maxine is saying, wow, Cedric, you're blessed with a beautiful, amazing wife. I
Thanks.
agree with that, Maxine. I definitely agree with that. You said earlier that you went within yourself when all of this happened at first. I know that, and I'm not saying all men, but I know there are men who have the tendency to shut down emotionally when something like this would happen, or like push the ones who are closest to them away. did you have moments like that where you just felt like you felt like you were burdened? And I'm not saying that you were, but did you ever feel that way? And did you ever, like, subconsciously, do you believe that you pushed your wife away or tried to?
In the beginning, it was such a shock for everybody, especially me, and I didn't know what was going on or exactly how dire it actually was. Like I knew that I was in the hospital. I knew that I was hooked up to leads and I couldn't breathe and move. Like I knew all these things. Um, I didn't necessarily push her away. I kind of embraced that she was there. When it came to any other outside people, places, or things, yeah, I kind of shied away from and pushed those things away, just due to it was it was just something crazy that and traumatic that happened, and I really couldn't grasp what happened and why it happened. So it's kind of like feeling like, for better words, nervous. Don't know who I could trust and who I could believe. Everything was kind of out the window at that point. So when I did have somebody that I felt that had my best interest in hand, I held on to that and kind of rode the wave.
Okay. I would like you to tell us about the recovery process. But before you do that, please remind the viewers what a spinal cord injury does.
Okay, spinal cord injury, which mine was a C3 through C5, which I had decompressed from C3 to three
C7.
to C7.
Okay.
Um, and what that entails is uh, basically I was paralyzed from the neck down. Um, I couldn't breathe on my own. It made it real hard to breathe. The signal from my brain to my lungs was no response, so it was hard for me to let my body know that there's certain things that I needed to survive. So yeah, a lot of complications.
Okay. So, once upon a time, an injury like what you had, that would have been it. There would have been no chance of recovery. But you did share with me about some of the rehabilitation process that you've been through. So I'd like you to share some of that with the viewers because this was very fascinating.
Yes, probably would have to start from the beginning, and
Sure.
I mean she might can chime in a little bit better than I can.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, right there at the beginning, he was on a whole lot of medicine, so he might not remember a whole lot of like the first hospital stay. Like he said before, when your spinal cord is injured up so high that it can cause your diaphragm to almost push up onto your lungs, and it caused him to have a collapsed lung. So with that, he had to be intubated. He couldn't move or anything. So it was a lot of the physical therapist would come in and stretch him every day, stretch his legs. I would do it. Um, there was a whole lot of, because he was intubated for 19 days, there was a lot of bronchoscopies and clean outs and stuff like that. Um, After that, he moved on to a smaller rehabilitative hospital, and it was just all therapy, occupational, physical, speech therapy. Because once they did extubate him, his breathing was still bad, so he had to have a tracheostomy, and so to breathe through that for a while. So then the speech therapy came in and got him a speaking valve, and it was a lot. And
Was
finally,
that was that frightening for both of you? I mean, just the thought of it to me, I think I would have been very anxious about it.
I was anxious every day. I watched pretty much all the bronchoscopies, and it was just so much. He was just struggling
It
the
was
whole
more
time.
frustrating for me. Of course, me not being able to. Well, I've never been through anything like that. So
Yeah.
when it came to them putting tubes down my throat or a feeding tube down my nose. Uh, that was hard for me, and to not be able to tell you or to let you know how I'm feeling or what I'm feeling was kind of hard. I couldn't tell the doctor, well, this is choking me. I couldn't tell the doctor that, well, this is uncomfortable. So it's kind of like I had to deal with it. It was like, deal with what was going on. So when it came to me reacting and kind of letting them know how I was feeling, it was through tears because I couldn't say, hey, I couldn't, scratch my throat or use my lips to smack. It was through tears. So it was extremely hard.
Oh, wow. And I can see the pain on your wife's face as you talked about that. That says so much about your bond, and I'm so glad you joined us tonight, Vanessa. And there's another comment here from Kathleen. She says, hi, Bree. Hi, Cedric and his lovely wife. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to you, Kathleen, and thank you so much for joining us. I could see the pain on your face, Vanessa, like you were reliving the trauma of everything.
Very much. It's very traumatic.
Well, let me ask both of you this. Well, did either of you have to go through therapy during the rehabilitation process?
One more time.
Did you both have to go? Did you see a therapist while neither of you did while you were going through the process?
Me at the beginning, I had a lot of different therapists. I had a person to help me feed. I had a person that would try to help me come and get some sort of movement out of my hands. Due to me not being able to eat or swallow, I had a person to check my waves, my airwaves, to see if I can even eat or swallow, because you have to do those tests also to even be recommended for the doctor to say that they feel safe enough for you to have something as small as a piece of bread soaked in water, so it had to be liquids. So yeah.
Okay.
You saw like the mental health.
And then when it came to before they started on like the mental part of the
Yes.
therapy, we went through a whole lot of memory. So they wanted to know if I can even comprehend what they were saying. If I,
Okay.
Cognitive type.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. So
Okay.
yeah, and then yes, mental therapy. They came and they prayed and they came with inspiration. So yeah, it was a must. We had the
So
right people at the right time.
I called you Mr. Motivation. How did it feel for the motivator having to be motivated by others?
Weird.
Yeah, it felt weird, uh, but it also felt good. Me personally, I like to motivate to be motivated. So I'm not the only the motivator in the world. So if I can pull some energy and some good vibes from somewhere else,
Good.
that's a plus. And it's even more so if I was the one who motivated you, and if I can, pull back that energy from you, lets me know that you've grown and you paid attention to maybe a little something that I might have had said in the past or in the present.
Yeah, I like that answer. And as I shared with you, like we became Facebook friends because we were both trainers.
Yes.
And you had no clue that I was admiring your posts. And you never know who's paying attention to you.
Absolutely right about that.
You
Yes.
never know. Well, I have to ask both of you this question. How has all of this changed your lives?
Loaded. It's drastically. That's all I can really say. It's just it really is crazy. I don't really have the words for it.
Um, this, like she said, drastically, it has changed in so many ways, financially, physically, emotionally. how we deal with each other, how we deal with our kids, how we deal with our finances. I mean,
Everything's
it's
changed.
totally from night to day. It's like a 360 all the way around.
I have to ask you this. I know all relationships have their ups and downs. If your relationship hadn't been the best before, do you think you guys would have been able to survive all of this as a couple?
I don't know. I don't know.
That is a good question.
Maybe.
And I ask this because there are many people that take their spouses for granted. And I know of situations like, especially with a lot of older men, and I'm not saying that's always the case, but in the younger years, they'd rather run around woman to woman to woman. But it's in the latter years, when, okay, I may need some health care now. Maybe I should get married, that sort of thing. So it's like, to me, like when you take the marriage vows and it says in sickness and in health, richer and poorer, how many people really take those vows seriously? It's like there are some people that they wouldn't have hung around. It's like, I can't handle this.
I mean, in my case, I think due to me, I mean, having a past, and I was a rascal. I can say when I was in my younger days, I was a rascal, and I don't think you ever get it out of your system. So I mean, like the question you asked, I mean, the strength before, I mean, that how it was before in our
Look,
relationship.
everyone makes mistakes and we all have a past. We all
Right,
have
right,
a past. But,
correct.
if the relationship, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm divorced, you know, I don't know. I don't, you know, especially the way I felt about my ex-husband. And I'm just being honest. It would be nice and pretty to say, yeah, would have stuck by him, but I don't think I would have. And I'm just being honest. So
Right,
that's why I'm talking about the strength of your relationship before. There had to have been
right.
the love, respect for you to both be sticking to each other right now.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, of course, we were strong and we worked together. We had our issues, and some might would say that how we ended up turning out so strong after this is a surprise. I mean, because I mean, we were a young couple. We are a young couple, and we do have our issues and trials and stuff. But I think due to how a lot of things are today, I mean, it is better to stick with the devil that you know than the new devil that you don't know. So, so yeah, so it kind of worked out in that way. It kind of worked out.
Okay. Now, would you say that having God in your lives may have played a role too?
Oh, absolutely. I think God was what brought us together, and
Me too.
He's the reason we're still holding strong.
Yes.
Good, good. Now, how did your injury change your family dynamic?
Whew, all the way around.
Okay.
In my case, like I said, she'll have her own answer. I don't know how she,
Okay. Okay.
but I know with me, it kind of, as a man, as a provider, as a father, me not being able to do my manly duty as a the head of the house, uh,
Yeah.
put a damper on me mentally, of course physically, and it kind of pushed me to where I felt that not necessarily that I was a burden on them, but she was more or less my caregiver. Not only her, my children pick up that role. Not that I ask them to or anything like that, but they choose to. So as a family, before it was the father, mother, and the children. Now it's more like we're all on the same page and on the same level. So when it comes to time to where I need help with something,
You
whether
can
it's
ask
feeding
anyone.
or just anything. My kids will be the first to jump up, and they look at it as a necessity, like they have to do it. I've never told them they have to do it, I've never asked them to do it. But
They
they,
want to.
yeah,
They do. They
they've
want to.
stepped
They
They
into
love
want
that.
to
you.
help daddy.
Yeah,
They
so I
love
mean,
you.
Hmm.
so for me, it's kind of hard seeing, me having to have people that I love dear like that to have to do so much for me when I'm the one that usually wants to pull my own weight, and it's hard for me not to pull my own weight at this point. And I'm truly blessed, but it did change everything. So I mean, not everything's a negative. So I mean, in this case, that turned out to be a positive to have my children and family actually be hands on with me and help me through all this.
Okay, and Vanessa, your answer to that
I
question?
would agree with a lot of that and how he said that the kids is helping him through all this. They're helping me too, because I mean, otherwise, Cedric, I mean, he can do a few things to help around the house and stuff,
Okay.
but it's not a whole lot. And the kids, they really do help me a lot.
Okay.
They've been great.
Okay.
There's some little mess pots, but they've been great.
Would you say this has been a very humbling process, Cedric?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely humbling. Yes, ma'am. From point A to point Z.
Now, you told me about like the new technology, and that's all that's out there as far as therapy is concerned. Would you like to share some of that with the viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, like I say, this is my first time being in this situation, but I know I've worked with many people through being a trainer, uh, many different situations. So I've seen a couple of things, but I really didn't know, I mean, how many things were out there. I mean, from the point to where I was transferred from my first facility to my second one, I really still didn't know. I didn't know until I was at my second facility uh, that I heard about my third one, which had everything to do with uh,
Spinal.
spinal cord injury and neurological. I didn't know that we had something of that caliber around me, or even that I would be able to even qualify to be able to be a part of that. And so that was a great thing. And once I did get the approval and I was able to go and be a part of that, it's so many things. So um, a lot of the things that they do have do are pertain to your injury. So whether you went in with a neurological or you had a spinal cord injury like I had, um, I was also in there with amputees. So some had no legs, some had no arms, some had maybe a few one of each. You never know. I mean, you just didn't know. So a lot of the technology and different equipment that they have nowadays is amazing, and it does all pertain to your specific, injury. You would think that would be hard to reach, but they've done it, or they're trying to do it. Um, and in my case, which I was paralyzed from the neck down, had everything to do with my movement of my arms. I was only able to go maybe chest high. Uh,
Nothing in the
yeah,
legs.
nothing in my legs.
Okay.
Nothing in the core.
Yeah, core, nothing. Hands, nothing at all.
Hands, nothing.
Okay.
So it was like,
It's just this.
yeah, it was hard to do anything. I mean, I can remember being laying in my hospital bed and the remote being like a touch away, and me not being able to even go across my body or even use this hand to do it, or even if I could reach it, I didn't have the strength enough to
Push it.
push it to turn the TV channel or turn the volume down. So uh, it had a lot of different and creative ways to get my hands back stronger.
Okay.
Um, from video games. I mean, they have things now for people that have limited arm range or limited hand
Okay.
movement. They do have video games that you can play that help you to extend, to retract, to lift up, to pull down, to work your fingers, whether it's a joystick or things like that. Uh, Another cool thing about my hands. I didn't really have much range, and they were always tight. When it comes to my arms and my hands, they get extremely tight and tense, the muscles. And they have wax. I mean, people do it for their feet, and the
Okay.
ladies go and get it done.
She can do a
Uh,
paraffin dip.
yeah, exactly, a paraffin dip for my hands to relax the muscles, and uh, it also comes with, I guess, softened skin. So, hey, it worked out for me two different ways.
Okay.
Yeah, that was truly amazing. And besides my hands, they had a lot of different stand machines. Of course, the wheelchair that I have now, um, which allows me to do things that I would normally do. Like it can lift me pretty high. So if I needed to get something from a top drawer cabinet, I'm able to, or something
Okay.
from the top of the ice box, I'm able to. Or if I need to adjust myself to where I'm leaning far forward enough to wash dishes on my hands or do my morning toiletries, I'm able to do that.
Okay.
And due to me being sedentary and being sitting down so much, I do have to do weight shifts, and that just helps me to not have any damage due to my bottom or
Okay.
anything like that. So the chair came in right on time, and it was needed. You know, most people don't know about that they even have something like that that could help,
Right.
which it is out there. And this is just a chair that helps me. I mean, they have things out there that can help anybody in any dire situation.
Now,
Um,
would you say it was empowering to have a chair like that to give you some level of independence?
oh, absolutely. Without the chair, things will be a lot more difficult. I mean,
Okay.
for me, doing therapy, as it comes to me, still doing my weight training and my own training in the gym, it would be extremely difficult to get a
Yeah.
lot of tasks done.
Okay. Okay. So I have to ask you this. What are your goals for the future? Because it sounds like there is hope for you to improve.
Yes.
Uh, the hopes that I got for my future, I just want to continue getting stronger, get back to the point to where I am able to motivate and inspire through fitness, uh, even if it's not through fitness, spiritually, mentally. So just to be a motivator, to be able to
A
be a
motivational coach.
yes, a great trainer. I still want to be a great trainer to whoever might need that information. So yeah, all the above. Yes, ma'am.
And I'll ask you the same question, Vanessa. What are your hopes for the future for your family, for Cedric and yourself?
Just for him to continue to just keep making more strides. He has a lot of stuff in the making that will be very beneficial towards his recovery. Um, I just, as long as my kids are happy and as long as we're all just sticking together, and that's my hopes all the time for the future. Just being with my family. I love it.
Now, we spoke earlier about you guys as a couple. Is there anything specific that you guys do? Like you had to endure this drastic lifestyle change. What are some of the things that you guys do to keep your relationship solid? Because I know it has to be a strain financially, has to be a strain. I mean, we all have bad days. What are the things that you do to come together to be of the same accord?
Uh,
Prayer.
yeah, pray. Family that prays stays. So prayer is key. I mean, I pray all day, every day. From the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. Yeah, I'm praying before I brush my teeth and after I brush my teeth. So prayer, prayer, prayer.
I would definitely, we've from the first conversation that we had, I said to you, I would like to see you become a motivational coach. And you said that was actually something that you were considering. So I'm hoping if there's a viewer out there that can help you on that path, that someone will reach out. because, you know, you're very optimistic and you're not giving up. And I think both of you as a couple, you could help so many other couples out there because, you know, to stay together through thick and thin, it's easier said than done.
Yes.
Yes, it is. It is very. That's true.
Way
Yes.
easier said than
And I
done.
think it probably surprises both of us also. You know, it's
Yes.
not something that, you know, we just knew that was going to happen.
Right.
You know, it's something that we work on every day. Every day there's a tisbit. You know, there's always going to be something negative, but it's all about how you react and how you recover, you know, on the whole situation.
Okay, now is there a day that you both have experienced like the toughest day you had on this journey where you thought that I just don't know if I can do this? How were you able to overcome that? You don't have to share what it was personally if you don't want to, but how were you able to overcome the toughest day that you had on this journey?
Whew, the toughest day. It's been tough from point A to point B, but the toughest day.
Or night, you know, because sometimes nighttime can really play tricks on your mind when you're depressed or going through things.
Um,
Yeah, I would say during his hospital stays were very tough for me at nighttime because there were just moments. Well, there was days. The first one I couldn't stay the night. The second one they did let me stay with him all the time, and then the third one I wasn't allowed to go at all. So just during all that time, it was just leaning on God, leaning on my family, leaning on his family, and that's really the only way I was able to get through it.
And
yeah.
you, Cedric?
And for me, I probably was probably right before I was going to come home. I mean, like I say, the whole time I was in the hospital, I didn't know what was going on, what was going to happen, how everything was going to unfold. All I know is I couldn't move, and my whole life is going to be different. Uh, so, you know, as you progress through the different hospitals, you know, you're thinking, okay, I'm getting better. Okay, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. And, you know, you want to wait till you're all better before you can come home. I mean, that's the ideal that you have in your head.
Yes.
That's what you're thinking. I don't want to come home till I am 100% back running and walking, and that's it, you know. And, you know, so the day that I was leaving the hospital, actually able to come home and be with my family, that probably was the scariest for me because I wasn't even near being back to what I used to be mentally, physically, or spiritually. Um, I knew that they were going to have to pick up a heavy load when it came to helping me and providing for me. So that was brand new. I didn't know what that was going to look like. Um, so prayer and the fact that she did stick with me and that she was patient and patient enough to be there and to learn and to do what she needed to do to get me back home and get me transitioned back into a regular life outside of the hospital.
Now, do you guys have a support network, family, church family, friends?
Family and church family mostly.
I would say that, but at this moment, I would say it's mostly us
It is.
and our children. Um, and like I say, still the stigma of not knowing who, what, and where to trust, and who to trust, and you know who has my best intentions or who has my family's best intentions. Of course, before this, uh, I was able to be that assertiveness and be the man to make those calls. And at this point, to where I'm not around so many people, and I don't know what's going on around because I'm at home a whole lot more with my family. So, yeah, that is one thing that you know kind of makes
Do
me a
you
little.
think there are people that may want to reach out but they're not sure on like what to say, what to do. They don't want to offend you in any way. They don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yes, ma'am. I absolutely think that's possible. I think that can be a big thing for a lot of people. Uh, so yeah, I do agree with that. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because as I told you, I was off Facebook for a few years, and when I came back on, I saw pictures of you in a wheelchair, and it just bothered me to no end to see those pictures. And I was curious, like, what in the world happened? And I wanted to reach out to you, but I just didn't know what to say. And, when I finally approached you and asked you to do the podcast, I was so relieved when you said yes, but I was relieved when you realized that I just wanted to help you get your story out there. I wasn't, I just didn't know how to approach it. So I'm
Right.
sure there are other people out there that they just don't want to, do or say the wrong thing.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it was just perfect timing almost. Because I mean, I think that I probably could have pushed myself to do a little bit more in this area, or maybe took an opportunity. But I think it was just perfect timing when you called and um, you reached out and you asked, and I seen that it was you. Like I said, I've never met you in my life.
Right.
It was right. It was the right time, and it happened. I believe that all things happen for a reason, and it is in perfect timing.
Yeah, I think, your story can encourage a lot of people from just different aspects because, yeah, you had the injury, but it's also about the relationship. It's
Mhm.
also about the relationship. And then it's like, yes, there are struggles, but it's how you face the struggles and how you deal with them. And I think what you both are doing is really a beautiful thing. And I know that you're inspiring other couples out there because I think no matter how drastic a situation is, it's how you love and respect each other and it's how you treat each other. I think it makes it easier to overcome. Tell me what you think about that statement.
Oh, I totally agree with what you said.
I
Yes,
agree.
that is absolutely 100%. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's in your story, I think of the word hope because I feel so hopeful for you, especially after you told me about the different therapies that's out there now. And because, I think back to like Teddy Pendergrass, like when he had his injury and he was pretty much wheelchair bound for the rest of his life. He had all the money in the world. And, so it's just to show how far technology has come and it's more accessible for everyday people.
Yes, it is. It is. It's out there, and it's. I mean, if you need it, and you have the opportunity, please take advantage of it, because it is out there for you. It could be hard at times to get into certain programs and different things. There's a lot of hurdles to jump, a lot of hoops to jump through. It just goes full circle when it comes
Okay.
to actually getting help that you actually need. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's easy because I'm
Right.
still jumping through hoops. You just got to make the best of what you got and just keep pushing forward, knowing that you will get the help that you need because it is out there.
You just have to be patient because they take their time.
Yes.
Okay, so do you have to get a referral to these programs? And I mean, how does that work?
Everything.
So, of course, your doctor has to send in referrals. And then not only do they have to send it in, they have to give a valid reason why they're sending it in and why you might need these things. Even though you might have gotten approved, even though they might have said yes to certain things,
Yes, you're disabled.
your doctor still has to approve it, and then he has to give a reason why he approved it for you. So yeah, like I say, it's one hurdle after another.
Now, were you insured? Would a person that doesn't have insurance be able to participate in this kind of rehabilitation?
They
I would say
probably
for a short
would.
period of time, but no, ma'am. Just to be honest,
It's expensive to be
yeah, it's extremely
disabled.
it's expensive, and it's extremely hard to get into. Yeah, you do. Another story. It was a guy from the same area that I'm in. Was also had a spinal cord injury right after I had one, and the same process went to him. Difference is I had insurance and he didn't, and unfortunately, even though he went to the same places that I went, uh, he didn't make it,
Oh,
Yes.
and it has a lot to do with him not being able to get the care and the help that he needed drastically, but due to him not being able to, have insurance, I mean, it didn't turn out in his favor. So yes,
that's really sad. So that's another aspect of this story, the importance of having health insurance.
absolutely. Without life insurance or health insurance, you can do nothing. They're not gonna accept you. You're not gonna get your medications, and yeah, you won't get the help that you truly need. You would have to deal with everyday life uh, with the grunt of it, the hard parts of it, and I can't even imagine how hard that is. And I know that it's many, probably millions of people that's going through that right now. And my hats off to you guys.
That is so sad. Well, I have to ask you this, and I hope it's not too personal, but
Mhm.
how are you surviving financially? Are you getting like unemployment or something like that?
Um, uh, just to be honest, struggling. No, I
Yeah.
mean it's a day by day. Like I say, you have to kind of be creative and to maneuver and to rearrange and recalculate things in your life so you're able to make it day by day. Because I mean, I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow or 2 days from now. All I know is today I'm good and my kids are good, and uh, that's what we're going. We go with each and every day. So prayer is key, and He answers my prayers every day.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I'm really praying that something great's gonna come your way, and I really do believe that. And like I said, I can see you as a motivational coach. And
Coach,
if
yes.
there's anyone out there that can help you on this path, I'm hoping that they will reach out, because I know that the idea of having a sense of purpose will be very important to you right now.
Oh, absolutely. Besides my children being my purpose, yeah, it would be amazing to, you know, to learn something different and to excel and, to see where I can take it.
I mean, definitely. And that's what I like about you, Cedric, your optimism. It's contagious, and I can see you making a difference to so many people. So, you know, I have to ask you this, and I'm asking both of you, and please don't rush through the answer. How hopeful are you for the future?
I'm very hopeful. Like I said before, there's a lot of things in the that are in the making that will be beneficial towards Cedric's recovery. Um, and I'm just hopeful for our future in general. I think there's a lot of good that's going to come out of all of this. I'm very
I
hopeful.
believe that. I believe that too. And you, Cedric, how hopeful are you for the future?
I'm extremely hopeful for the future. For the simple fact that I'm still here and I'm able to still better myself. And due to this traumatic situation, it did help me to go within and to pick certain things that I was doing in my life that might have not been so healthy for me in my life. So it helped me to actually notice it and know that I had a problem, or that I could fix certain things to make life a lot better, not just for myself but for my family. So yeah, I'm extremely excited to see how much better I can become and how much better I can evolve and uh, to be a better man, father, spouse.
Are you still going through rehabilitation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Um,
Yes.
how often how often do you have to go through therapy?
So I do my own. Of course, I work out 3 times a week myself, and then I would try to do therapy twice a week. I'm at this point right now. I know I'm getting back into the swing of things when it comes to therapy places, but yeah, twice a week.
Okay, now when you go through the sessions, are they painful in any way?
They can be painful. Yes, ma'am. Due to me having a spinal cord injury, I get a lot of pain in my lower back or down my left leg. For some reason, my left side is where most of my pain stem from. Where it comes from, I have no idea.
Okay.
Um, but that's where I do have some pain. Before I wasn't able to muscle it, but through therapy and hard work and time, I've been able to work through a lot of my pain, so it is limited at this point.
Okay, now do you have to take medications?
Ooh, yes, ma'am. I take a lot of medications. Uh, Everything
About a
from
dozen.
that works for my depression, that works for my spasms, things to relax muscles, uh, blood pressure,
Nerve
nerve medicine.
medicine, nerve pain. Well, your blood pressure medicines, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Okay, now are you on a special diet?
Not any special diet at this point. I mean, I did start off on a special. It went from a liquid diet, and then it
Soft
progressed.
food,
Yeah, then soft foods, and then
regular.
regular, then more or less anything that I wanted. At this point, I'm not on anything, but it was kind of like a tradition that I've had since I started training. I'm a faster. I like fasting. I believe in fasting. I do fast the majority of the day. I eat one full meal once a day, and that's usually in the afternoons. And it's due to me not wanting to be tired or sluggish. Sometimes you can eat and you can get pretty tired or worn down after you eat. So I kind of like to keep my spirits up. So I try not to eat as much. It works for me. I'm not saying everybody should do it, but if I mean fasting
Fasting
is
is actually a good thing.
yes, it's amazing. It does wonders, and it just depends on what your goal is and what you're looking for. And for me, fasting helps me to keep my weight down due to me being sedentary, so that I'm not eating all day junk food or a certain amount of calories or going over the amount of calories that I'm
Right.
supposed
Right.
to.
It's
So
yeah, and you have to be proactive in all of this. My
Yeah.
brother is on and he's saying hi. Hi. Thank you so much for joining us, Barry. I do appreciate you tuning in. So I have to ask you both this. What do you guys do for fun? What do you do for fun? Because we all need to have fun. What do you guys do in order to get rid of some of this stress?
So I'm gonna know the last big thing that we did as a family and for fun is we took a cruise together, and
Oh, wow.
that was a lot of fun, and seeing the kids happy. I mean, because that's my big thing. Me being in this situation, not allowing my kids to be kids and to have fun and to be able to take them places because I'm not allowed in certain places, or it might be more difficult for me to get into these certain places. So it's always a blessing to make them smile.
That's great. Now, do you journal?
Um, Somewhat. I like to read. I do like to journal. Sometimes she journals some. So yes, yes, I like to
I
write down my
think
thoughts.
journaling is great. It helps you to get your feelings out.
Hmm.
Yes, I'm more of a music man. I like to turn on the music and
Blast it.
let my mind zone out to just clear my head of everything and almost like meditation, just clear
What do
everything.
you listen to? What do you listen to?
Everything.
I love all music. I love anything from R&B to country to rap. I mean, I like gospel.
The oldies.
Yeah, oldies, alternative. Yeah, I like all music.
Everything.
Yeah, it's all about the feeling. How a song makes you
Yeah.
feel.
That's wonderful. Like I said, you have such an optimistic mindset, and that's really great. And I'm hoping that that for others who are in your situation, that they will see that there is hope, and that life goes on, but it's what you make of it, you
Yes.
know? So I have to ask both of you, and I'll ask you first, Cedric. Well, I'll ask your wife first. What thoughts would you like to leave the viewers with?
I would just tell everyone, no matter the situation you're in, don't ever give up. Find the strength, bring it out somehow. Just know that God has your back and He's gonna lead you through no matter what.
Yes. And you, Cedric, what thoughts would you like to leave the viewers with?
Thoughts. So I just want to leave everybody with certain things and certain situations happen in your life. Some good, some bad. Don't never be scared to change, to have to reorganize, have to go on a different path, because everything under the sun has to change to grow, to survive. So it's just part of life, part of evolution. And if you don't do these things, I mean, you will be left stuck, depressed. So don't ever be scared to change and then strive.
Amen.
And what would you guys say about the importance of communication, especially for couples?
Well, it's very important. And we don't always succeed at it, but it's a day by day thing. And we really do try to just communicate as
Yeah.
much as possible.
Yeah, communication is key. Because without communication, I mean, there's no way for her to know how I feel about a situation or a feeling, and there's exactly no way for me to read her mind and know how she is feeling or how I should react to her if she doesn't let me know. Because I mean, I don't know everything, and I'm not always right. So how I think I should react to her might not be the right thing to do sometimes. So communication is key in always in a relationship.
And with your relationship with your children, how is that going right now?
I would say amazing. I would say, I mean, due to the fact that we are going through certain financial situations,
They've been great.
due to my family, her family, and they they don't really see a difference. They still think they're little spoiled kids, and they're still wild as ever.
Rats.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Cedric, once again, I would truly like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this. 2 episodes, sharing your story, being so forthright and honest about your struggles, about the ups and downs, and to Vanessa for coming on. Like I said, I could see you reliving some of the pain when he was talking. That says a lot about the love you have for this man. It speaks volumes about you as a woman, as a wife, as a mother. You have my utmost respect. And Cedric, like I said, you were a motivator before, and you're still a motivator. And I just love that about you. And what I'd like to say to the viewers is that Cedric had no idea a woman in Florida was paying attention to his videos and to his photographs. Like I said, anyone that I have trained, they will tell you I am a motivator. And that's what drew me to you, because you were a motivator, and you were even more of a motivator than I am. I didn't think that was possible, So I was drawn to your posts, So
You,
for the longest, I was paying attention to your posts until I took a time out from Facebook and coming back on, like I said earlier, to see that you were injured. So, you know, to the viewers, if you see someone going through something, it's okay to reach out. I reached out to Cedric. I hesitated. I can't tell you how many times I attempted to reach out for months, but I held back because I was like, no, I don't want him to be offended. And I think I've made a lifelong friend here in
Yes.
both of you.
Yes.
So I am so glad I took the chance to reach out. And I'm so thankful that I got to be a part of you sharing your story. And I definitely want to have you back because I want to do more couple shows. And like I said, once you start your motivational coaching, I'm hoping that you'll come back and share that journey with us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on and motivating me to be able to take this step forward to even express myself and give me a platform to share my story. So I want to thank you for all that you've
Yes,
done.
thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. This platform is like my ministry, and I want to encourage others to get their story out there. You don't have to be famous to share your story because as us everyday ordinary people, we have a story to tell, and our stories can encourage and motivate others.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yes.
Well, I tell you, thank you so much. I'm hoping to have you back on. Next week, I'll be having Andrew Green on for part 2 of his Father's Day conversation. Thank you so much, everyone that tuned in. And I'd like to make an appeal out there to anyone that can help Cedric in any way to become a motivational coach. Anything that you may be able to do to help this family, please feel free to reach out to him. And once again, thank you so much. Maxine says blessings to you both.
Thank
And
you.
you really motivated us. Like I said, I started working out again because when I don't, I feel guilty. It's like, why am I not working out? I have no excuse,
Yeah.
so thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I'm your friend for life. And
Yes.
Yes, you
please,
are.
please keep in touch. Once again, to the viewers, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week and have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.